If there's one quote that encapsulates the worldview of Nikola Tesla, it's this: if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. At first glance, it may sound poetic or abstract. But for Tesla, this was not metaphor. It was the blueprint of reality. He perceived the universe not as a collection of separate objects, but as a vast symphony of oscillating forces, where everything, from the smallest particle to the human mind, vibrates in harmony or dissonance. This way of seeing the world doesn't just anticipate certain elements of quantum theory. It transcends them. Tesla intuitively understood that behind matter lies motion, behind motion lies rhythm, and behind rhythm lies meaning. This was the code he was trying to crack, not merely to invent machines, but to tune into the fundamental music of existence. Tesla's obsession with vibration wasn't just scientific, it was existential. He saw the universe as a living entity, pulsing with a kind of intelligence that could be accessed, not through brute force, but through resonance. In his notebooks and letters, he often described having sudden illuminations, as if he was receiving information from somewhere beyond. Whether these were sparks of genius, spiritual insights, or moments of deep alignment with the universe's frequency, Tesla believed they weren't random. He thought the mind itself could act as a kind of receiver, and that by tuning into the right channel, one could tap into truths that transcend ordinary perception. This idea that we are surrounded by invisible information waiting to be unlocked through vibration places Tesla at the crossroads between mystic and scientist, far ahead of his time. Modern physics, particularly fields like string theory and quantum field theory, have begun to echo what Tesla seemed to sense intuitively over a century ago, that at the most fundamental level, reality is not solid, but vibrational. Even consciousness, once dismissed as a mere byproduct of the brain, is now being re-examined as possibly emergent from deeper energetic fields. Meanwhile, spiritual traditions across cultures have always spoken of raising one's vibration, of aligning with certain frequencies to access healing, insight, or enlightenment. Tesla's genius was in bridging these worlds. He didn't separate the physical from the metaphysical. To him, the universe didn't just contain energy, it was energy, endlessly shifting, humming, flowing. And if one could learn to understand that flow, to feel its pulse, one could not only invent new technologies, but transform the way we live. The idea that reality is something you can tune into, like a radio station, is more than a poetic analogy. It's a paradigm shift. It means that perception is not fixed but fluid, that what we experience as real is dependent on what frequency we are aligned with, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually. This opens a door to immense possibility. What if we're not passive observers of the world, but active participants in shaping it through our inner frequency? Tesla's work, then, is not just a legacy of brilliant machines and ideas. It is a reminder that reality is malleable, that we are vibrating beings in a vibrating cosmos, and that perhaps the most important invention we could ever build is the ability to tune ourselves, not to control the universe, but to harmonize with it. Nikola Tesla often spoke of receiving insights not through analysis, but through sudden, vivid visions, fully formed images that appeared in his mind with striking clarity. To many, this might sound mystical or even irrational, but Tesla himself didn't dismiss these experiences as hallucinations or fantasies. He believed he was accessing something real, a kind of higher information, encoded in subtle frequencies, beyond ordinary awareness. This opens a fascinating question. What if the human mind is not just a source of thoughts, but a receiver of frequencies? Just as radios pick up waves from the air, perhaps our brains, in certain states, can tune into dimensions of reality normally hidden from view. Tesla's visionary episodes weren't outliers. They were evidence to him that consciousness itself could be modulated, expanded, and aligned with greater truths. In this light, his mind wasn't simply brilliant, it was attuned. Modern neuroscience offers a surprising resonance with Tesla's intuitions. Brainwave frequencies, alpha, beta, theta, delta, and gamma, correspond to different states of consciousness, from focus to deep sleep, meditation to creative insight. These aren't abstract categories. They're measurable vibrational states of the brain, shaping how we perceive the world, how we think, feel, remember, and imagine. Meditation, for example, increases alpha and theta waves, often associated with intuition, inner peace, and creativity, precisely the kind of state Tesla seemed to inhabit when receiving his insights. In this sense, consciousness isn't static. It's a frequency spectrum, and the more attuned we are to these inner vibrations, the more we may access levels of thought, feeling, and perception that transcend the surface mind. Tesla's mental process may have been nothing less than a tuning mechanism, a deeply sensitive interaction between his nervous system and the frequencies of a vast, intelligent cosmos. Tesla believed in what he called the finer forces of nature, which he insisted science had yet to fully explore. Today, we might call these subtle energies or fields of consciousness. He intuited that thoughts themselves might carry frequency, that intention could shape reality, and that the mind, in certain conditions, could transcend the limitations of time and space. These were not vague mystical leanings. For Tesla, they were practical considerations in his creative work. He often designed machines entirely in his head, running simulations mentally, down to the last screw, before ever building a prototype. This level of cognitive control suggests a mind operating on an uncommon bandwidth, not just thinking, but resonating. And if we take this seriously, it leads to profound implications. That creativity, genius, and intuition are not just internal processes, but connections to deeper currents of intelligence flowing through the universe. Tesla was perhaps not just imagining the future, he was listening to it. All of this challenges our traditional understanding of intelligence and consciousness. If Tesla's mind was able to receive ideas from realms beyond the rational, what does that say about the nature of thought itself? It implies that consciousness might be layered, that beneath our everyday awareness lie deeper frequencies where insight, connection, and even universal truth reside. This is where Tesla's ideas touch the edge of mysticism and return again to science. The notion that we can train the mind to vibrate at higher frequencies aligns not only with spiritual traditions, but with cutting-edge research into neuroplasticity, altered states, and human potential. Perhaps the brain is not merely an organ, but an instrument, one that, when finely tuned, can play notes most of us never hear. Tesla lived in that resonance, and his life suggests that human consciousness, when aligned with the deeper frequencies of the cosmos, becomes not only more intelligent, but more visionary, more intuitive, more alive. The story of Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison is often told as a rivalry between two brilliant inventors. One eccentric and idealistic, the other pragmatic and driven. But beneath the surface, their clash represented something far more profound. A battle between two worldviews, two philosophies of power. Edison, with his direct current, DC, believed in building systems that were centralized, controlled, and profitable. Tesla, on the other hand, dreamed of a world where energy flowed like a river, wireless, free, and abundant. This wasn't just about technology, it was about who gets to control the very lifeblood of civilization. Tesla's vision was revolutionary, not because it was unrealistic, but because it threatened the existing order. He wasn't just proposing a new method of transmitting electricity. He was challenging the foundational belief that power, in all senses of the word, must be owned, regulated, and sold. When Tesla introduced alternating current, AC, he didn't just improve upon Edison's model, he obliterated it. AC could travel farther, more efficiently, and at a fraction of the cost. But that victory was only the beginning. What Tesla truly aspired to was wireless transmission, not just of signals, but of energy itself. With the Wardenclyffe Tower, He aimed to build a global system where people could draw electrical power straight from the air. No wires, no meters, no monopolies. To those invested in profit, this was heresy. J.P. Morgan, who had initially funded the project, famously withdrew support upon realizing that Tesla's invention couldn't be metered. The implications were explosive. If energy, the engine of economies, could be free, then the structures of power built on scarcity would collapse. Tesla wasn't silenced because he failed. He was silenced because he succeeded in imagining a world they didn't want to exist. But the war wasn't just technological or economic. It was ideological. Edison's approach fit neatly within the industrial age: production, consumption, and control. Tesla's ideas, by contrast, hinted at something far more organic and anarchic: a networked, decentralized world where individuals could harness natural forces directly. In a sense, Tesla represented the intuition that the universe itself was abundant, that nature's frequencies could empower rather than enslave. To allow such ideas to flourish would mean redefining wealth, rethinking ownership, and reimagining what it means to live in harmony with the planet. It's not hard to see why these ideas were buried. Tesla's fall from public favor was no accident. It was a slow erasure. His lab was destroyed, his patents ignored, his name scrubbed from the very inventions he helped pioneer. The war of frequencies was never just about volts and amps. It was about truth and fear, liberation and control. Looking back, we can ask, what did we lose when we chose Edison's world over Tesla's? Perhaps we lost more than a technological opportunity. Perhaps we lost a future shaped by trust in the natural intelligence of the cosmos. A future where frequency wasn't just a utility, but a bridge to deeper human potential. Tesla saw energy, not as a commodity, but as a sacred element, something to be harmonized with, not exploited. His downfall is a cautionary tale, not of failure, but of a society unprepared or unwilling to embrace freedom. The suppression of Tesla's work reminds us that the most dangerous truths are often not the ones that challenge science, but the ones that challenge power. And so the real war of frequencies continues, not between currents or companies, but between visions. One that seeks to dominate the flow of energy, and one that dares to set it free. We live in a sea of invisible waves, fields of frequency, that surround, penetrate, and interact with us constantly. From the moment we wake up, we are immersed in electromagnetic environments. Wi-Fi signals bouncing off walls, radio frequencies pulsing through the air, the rhythmic blue light of screens, subtly altering our biology. We don't see them, and most of the time we don't feel them, but they shape us. Tesla understood this long before modern science caught up. He spoke of frequencies as carriers of influence, not just technological signals, but forces that could affect the body, the mind, and even the soul. What he glimpsed is something we are only beginning to grasp today. That frequency is not a niche concept relegated to physics labs, but the medium through which much of reality unfolds. In that sense, we are not separate from the field. We are the field, resonating with the world whether we're aware of it or not. Scientific research now confirms that exposure to different frequencies can influence everything from sleep cycles to cognitive performance, stress levels to emotional stability. Music therapy, for instance, uses specific tones to stimulate healing processes. The brain responds differently to a 432 Hz tone than to a 440 Hz one, and heart rate, breath, and even immune function can be modulated by sound alone. This isn't pseudoscience. It's neurobiology, it's physics, it's resonance. Tesla believed that if we could learn the exact frequencies at which the body and mind operate optimally, we could design technologies not to dominate nature, but to cooperate with it. He envisioned cities powered by energy that vibrated in harmony with the human organism, rather than bombarding it. What he foresaw is now a growing field of study: bioresonance, frequency healing, and vibrational medicine. He knew even then that we are not just influenced by frequencies. We are shaped by them, molded at every level by the vibrations we allow into our lives. Even our emotions, those most human of experiences, carry frequency. The electromagnetic field of the heart, a measurable phenomenon, changes depending on whether we are experiencing anger, joy, fear, or gratitude. Environments also carry frequency. Have you ever walked into a room and felt tension or peace before a word was spoken? That's vibration. It's a transfer of energy at a level beyond language, beyond logic. Tesla hinted at this when he spoke of non-physical energies that influence life, suggesting that the energetic atmosphere around us could either elevate or suppress human potential. In a world increasingly filled with artificial frequencies, from 5G towers to industrial noise, the question becomes critical. What are we bathing in? What frequencies are we unknowingly entraining ourselves to every day? The answer may determine not only our mood, but our long-term well-being, clarity of thought, and capacity to feel connected to ourselves, to others, to the world. To see life through Tesla's eyes is to recognize that reality is not just visual or tactile, it is vibrational. We are instruments constantly tuning and being tuned. This reframe has the power to shift how we approach everything: relationships, work, health, even identity. What if depression, anxiety, and fatigue are not merely chemical imbalances, but also signs of being out of tune with the right frequencies? What if creativity, inspiration, and love arise not from effort alone, but from resonance, from being in sync with the subtle harmonics of the cosmos? Tesla's legacy urges us to ask these questions, not as mystics escaping science, but as explorers reclaiming it. The invisible waves around us are real, and their effects are undeniable. The challenge and opportunity is to become conscious of them, to design our inner and outer worlds not for noise, but for harmony. And in doing so, perhaps we begin to live not just in the world, but with it. In recent years, scientific studies have illuminated something that Tesla understood intuitively. The heart, not just the brain, emits a powerful electromagnetic field, one that can influence not only the body but the environment around us. The human heart, it turns out, is not just a pump for blood. It's a resonator, broadcasting frequencies that communicate with the world. Research by organizations like the HeartMath Institute has shown that the heart's electromagnetic field is up to 5,000 times stronger than that of the brain, and it can extend several feet around the body. This discovery resonates with Tesla's own belief in the importance of frequency, and especially in the idea that love, the highest form of human emotion, could be understood as a vibration, a frequency that transcends time and space. If the heart emits a frequency this powerful, could it be that love, compassion, and gratitude are not just emotional experiences, but frequencies that shape the very fabric of the universe? Tesla's vision of the universe was not one of cold, mechanistic laws, but of a living, breathing, interconnected field of energy. He saw the cosmos as a harmonious system where everything, from the smallest atom to the largest star, was in constant motion, vibrating at frequencies that could be understood and harnessed. What if the heart's frequency is not just an isolated phenomenon, but part of a larger cosmic harmony, where the vibrations of each living being interact with the vibrations of the universe itself? This idea is echoed in many spiritual traditions, which speak of the heart as a center of wisdom and the gateway to higher consciousness. Whether through the rhythmic pulse of the heart or the quieter, more subtle frequencies it radiates, our connection to the cosmos might be far more intimate and profound than we've ever realized. The heart, then, becomes a portal, not just to our own humanity, but to the broader, interconnected web of life. One of the most profound aspects of Tesla's work was his belief that humanity's potential was limited not by our capacity to generate energy, but by our ability to tune to the right frequencies. If the heart's frequency is indeed a key to unlocking higher states of consciousness, then what happens when we consciously align ourselves with it? Imagine a world where individuals are able to resonate at frequencies of love, peace, and gratitude, where collective human consciousness is tuned to the same vibrational harmony that governs the cosmos. Could this shift in frequency be the key to overcoming the divisions and conflicts that plague us? Tesla's message suggests that this possibility is not merely a fantasy, but a real potential for human evolution. A step toward creating a society not based on the control of energy, but on the free flow of universal love and understanding. The implications of Tesla's insights are vast. If our hearts are indeed attuned to the frequencies of the cosmos, then our internal state might be the most important factor in determining our experience of reality. Just as a musical instrument can be tuned to create harmony, so too can the human heart, and by extension, the human being. Perhaps the true secret to unlocking our potential is not in the quest for more power or more technology, but in the cultivation of inner harmony. If we learn to tune ourselves to the highest frequencies, those of love, gratitude, and compassion, we not only elevate our own experience, but also contribute to the elevation of the collective consciousness of humanity. Tesla's belief in the power of frequency was not just about machines or electricity. It was about the potential to create a new kind of society, one based on resonance, harmony, and love. In the final chapters of his life, Nikola Tesla lived in near obscurity, a man whose ideas had outpaced his era by generations. Yet despite being cast aside by the institutions of power, Tesla never abandoned his belief that energy, and more importantly, frequency, held the key not just to technological progress, but to human evolution. He was a scientist, yes, but also a visionary mystic. He spoke of the cosmos as a symphony, and of the human being as a participant in that divine composition. What Tesla proposed wasn't merely a future with wireless energy or infinite power, but a world in which humanity had remembered its deeper nature, not as consumers or machines, but as beings of resonance. Today we begin to understand that what he intuited aligns with a growing synthesis between science and spirituality, and perhaps that is his true legacy, not the patents or inventions, but the bridge he quietly built between the mechanical and the metaphysical. This bridge, though invisible, is now more relevant than ever. Modern physics points to a universe where particles are waves, where observation shapes reality, and where everything is connected in a vast quantum field. Neuroscience reveals that consciousness is not confined to the brain, but radiates through frequencies that influence and are influenced by the environment. And spiritual traditions, both ancient and modern, speak of vibration, alignment, and inner tuning as pathways to truth. What Tesla suggested more than a century ago, that the secrets of the universe lie in understanding frequency, energy, and vibration, is no longer a poetic metaphor. It's becoming the foundation of a new paradigm, one in which technology serves consciousness rather than controls it, and where healing, connection, and progress are measured not by material output, but by harmony with the natural world and with each other. But if this vision is to become reality, it demands more than admiration for Tesla. It requires that we listen to what he was truly trying to say. He warned against systems that centralize power, not just in terms of electricity, but in the way society is organized. He believed in decentralization, in individuals empowered by knowledge, intuition, and free energy. The future Tesla dreamed of was not just brighter. It was freer, more conscious, more human. It was a future where technology enhances life, rather than replaces it, where science is guided by wisdom, and where spirituality is not dogma but resonance with the universe. To walk the path Tesla hinted at, we must see ourselves not as passive passengers in a machine world, but as creators, vibrational beings capable of shaping reality through the frequencies we emit, the thoughts we think, and the love we choose to radiate. In the end, Tesla leaves us not with a machine, but with a mirror that reflects the fundamental question: what frequency are you broadcasting to the universe? In a world saturated with noise, distraction, and artificial rhythms, to attune yourself to the deeper frequencies of life is a revolutionary act. The future, as Tesla saw it, would not be built only by wires and towers, but by consciousness, by a humanity that remembers its connection to the cosmos, to each other, and to the great vibrating mystery of existence. His message echoes, now more than ever. If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. But more than that, live in those terms. Because the real transformation begins not when you grasp the theory, but when you embody the frequency. And in that act, the future Tesla imagined becomes not just possible, but inevitable.